Greetings and welcome to day 24 of my Advent Calendar countdown, and the very final one, which has my number one. Now, is it Christmas? What does Noddy say?
It's Christmas!
So, Noddy has declared that I'm talking about Noddy Holder, of course, has declared that it's Christmas. So, before I start, season's greetings to everyone. I hope you have a great time with whatever you're doing. And my number one is a joint number one, but the same band. And of course, no surprises here, I'm sure. I'm talking about The Smile, who brought out 2 albums this year. And The Smile, of course, is a trio made up of Thom Yorke and Jonny Greenwood of Radiohead, and the brilliant jazz drummer, who I think, if not certainly is one of a handful that I would say is the best drummer of their generation currently. Anyway, the year off started in January with the release of The Wall of Eyes. Brilliant album. This, I said at the time, I thought it could be my number one. But in October, sort of slightly out of nowhere, they released a second album in the year called Cutouts. And whilst this does, the Wall of Eyes has a brilliant standout track, Bending Hectic, I'd say this one is a more complete album in some ways. It doesn't have that sort of absolute standout. And I tend to think they're so close together, I sort of treat them in my head as a bit of a double album, so hence they're difficult to separate. But if I had to choose, it would be Cutouts, which, as I say, came out in October. So this is what I said about them. And probably which is the biggest one, I think, is The Smile, and their second album, The Wall of Eyes. Now, the Smile, of course, are Thom Yorke and Jonny Greenwood from Radiohead fame, with Tom Skinner from the modern jazz outfit Sons of Kemet, and this is superb. Let me throw down gauntlet, is that the right word? Not really, but this has the potential. I'm not saying it's going to be, because there's a long way to go yet, but this has the potential to be the best album of the year. It is that good. Whether it will or not, who knows? Time will tell. But I will be amazed if it doesn't appear in my year-end top 5 at least. As I say, it's superb. It's a move on, I think, from the first album. Good that was. That was my equal number one for 2022. It's easy. I do see sometimes in reviews people call this a side project, Radiohead side project. I don't think it is. I think it's much more than that. You can listen to, that all 3 of them are very creative. Tom Skinner is absolutely one of the best drummers of his generation out there technically, and you can hear Thom Yorke and Jonny Greenwood just being able to, he can keep up with them. Which with the best will in the world, Phil Selway from, the Radiohead drummer, can't. So, it'd be interesting to see whether they carry on this or actually go back to Radiohead at some time. But there's certainly, you can tell it, you can just hear it in the songs, and they are typically quite complex, that they're just having a really good time, doing lots of live work as well. Nice graphics in there, and it is a single LP, and it's on a blue. I can't remember if it's a special blue, but it's on blue, and very good it is too.
It might be as well. It might be as well.
And it is The Smile and a new album, Cutouts, which came out at the beginning of the month. This is the second Smile album of the year. I mean, what was it? Wall of Eyes came out in January, and that remained for the whole of the first half my favourite album of the year so far. So when I did my half-year roundup, that was number one. There've been a couple of other albums which challenge it since then, but here they are with the second album of the year. And, you know, this is three in pretty quick succession. This is their third one. The first came out in December 22, so right at the end, and then January 24, so just a year really between them, and then sort of 10 months with this one. You could have argued if they wanted to wait, they could have made a double album. And it's another really, really good one. They are really scratching their creative itch with this. So the Smile, you know, pretty well known by now. So features Tom York and Johnny Greenwood of Radiohead fame, and the brilliant jazz drummer Tom Skinner, who was in most famously in Sons of Kemet. And they are really, really good. And this is, I often read that the Smile is a Radiohead side project. I think it's much, much more than that. It's not just a side project. This is their number one band at the moment. You know, at some point, I guess they might go back and do another Radiohead one. I read somewhere that Johnny Greenwood is typically very impatient because Radiohead tend to take about 4 or 5 years to perfect an album before they'll release it, whereas Johnny wants to get it out when it's good enough and, and get on with the next one and get on with the tours. And this is what they've been doing on here. This album is, it's got a lovely feel to it as well. It's got that sort of waxy feel. It's a gatefold. It has, let me get the shit set lifting out. I think it's 10, it's, a nice lyric booklet. I'm pretty sure it's 10 tracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, there's 6 on the first side and 5 on the other, so it's 11 tracks by the look of it. And you know, the drumming is absolutely amazing on here. There are put that over there. There are 2 or 3 tracks where the drumming isn't in the 4 because Tom Skinner also plays synths in there as well, so he's a sort of multi-instrumentalist. But the best tracks are really where he's at the 4. He's just such a brilliant drummer, and you can tell that, you know, the 3 of them together are just completely in sync. They're producing really, you know, out there music. I sort of reckon this is prog. It's not conventional prog. It's like nothing 70s or sort of neo prog stuff. But I can't think of a because of that, it's so out there, and yet it's also basically conventional. It's not remotely post rock, for example. You know, they are conventional structures, but the instrumentation, you know, there's so much variety in there, and the songs are superb. I would say with this album, there isn't, if you picked up a Wall of Eyes, I would say there isn't a standout track to the extent on there. A Wall of Eyes was Bending Hectic, I think it was called, which was the sort of lead release single and was a really, really, really powerful track. But having said that, I think on balance, this whole album as a whole is marginally better than Wall of Eyes, but the 2 of them together are superb. You know, if they were if it was a double album, it would be an absolute masterpiece. They've moved on again, you know, so it's not sort of, you know, in essence, it's more of the same, but it's not at the same time. Now, that's a sort of stupid thing to say, I know, but they are just pushing the envelope all the time. They're so creative in there, and you know, I'm not missing Radiohead. These are doing my Radiohead itch, if you like, because You know, they're nothing. It's not Radiohead. It's not remotely Radiohead. They've really pushed on, but it's that sort of that creativity which I want from them is brilliant. So that's the first one, Smile, or The Smile and Cut Out, and certainly a contender for my number one of the year, without doubt. And it's a single LP on white opaque vinyl. So thanks for watching. Those who've stayed with me the whole series, I really appreciate it. It's gone on a bit, hasn't it? And it's had its ups and downs this month. But here we are with the final one, and I do appreciate all the support everyone's given me doing this series. And I will be back early in the new year with a vinyl tag, of course. So thanks for watching. Cheers.